So this is not a speculative market. It's a real, tangible market. And I think if we can bring some value to that market, then we'll succeed.
So how come you were the company that was the latest, the last to figure out MP3s and music?
That's interesting.
If it's so universal and so obvious, I mean, you know.
We maybe weren't quite the last, but we were certainly near the last. And the reason was because we were focused on video. What happened was Apple invented this technology called FireWire. And they licensed it to all these companies, and all the Japanese consumer electronics companies licensed it, put it in their new generation of digital camcorders. And the only company that forgot to put it in something was Apple. So we decided to put it in to one of the early iMacs. And we got some video editing software written. And we were very excited about that.
iMovie.
iMovie, exactly.
So the idea is you plug your camcorder into the computer.
Yeah, no cards, no nothing. It was pristine digital quality.
The movie just appears and you can edit it.
Yes, and you could, and a mere mortal could edit it without reading a manual. And so we came out with iMovie, and it was a really big hit. But then what do you do with your movie? You put it back on the camcorder, and you know, you can send a tape to you know, your friends, but they might not have a camcorder to play it. So we clearly saw that the brass ring was to be able to write a DVD that you could send to, you know, your friends or grandma or whoever. And we pioneered the drives that could write DVDs. And we worked with Pioneer, who was way ahead of anybody else, and we wrote most of the software for that. And we wrote a software package called iDVD, which could, you know, make DVDs. And we were the first ones out with that. And we were so focused on that this music thing happened around the side, and we weren't paying enough attention to it. But we finally got hit over the head with a brick and saw that it was happening, and then we came on fairly strong. We put CD burners in almost every machine. We wrote iTunes, which, you know, some think is the best jukebox software in the world, and that led us, you know, in less than a year to the iPod. So we came on pretty strong when we came on.
And some people in the record business actually didn't realize you were late. They thought you were leading the charge to stealing music because of your ad slogan at the time, right?
Right. We ran an ad. We called it Concert, and the slogan was Rip, Mix, Burn. And it turns out, you know, you laugh.
And there were billboards that said that, right? Rip,
oh yeah,
mix,
no, we
burn,
spent lots of money on this.
Magazine covers.
Magazines, billboards, and TV commercials. And it turns out what rip means, if you know young people that do this, is the word came from ripping the bits off a CD and putting them on your hard drive. That was where that phrase came from, which means you have a physical CD, right? Theoretically yours. And you rip the bits off and you put them on your hard drive. Some industry executives who did not have teenagers living at home, especially some in Hollywood, thought rip meant rip off. And they did not do their customary homework, and they you know, some of them even went to Washington and testified and held us up in effigy. But in reality, what it meant was get CDs and put them on your hard drive.
So now you're in the music business, right? I mean,
well,
3 weeks ago you announced what I think is the first usable, attractive, legal music service for downloading songs. You're a computer company. Why are you in that business? What's the deal there?
Well, again, the definition of what a computer company is morphing. You know, a computer company is a company that cares deeply about digital photography now. A computer company is a company that cares deeply about digital movie making. I mean, between iMovie and a pro product we have called Final Cut Pro, we're the largest video editing supplier in the world now. We're the largest pro video editing supplier with Final Cut Pro. We're much bigger than Avid now. And you know, our stuff is used by more consumers than anyone else. So we care deeply about video editing, and we care deeply about music. And as you know, Napster and Kazaa hit the music industry like a tsunami. They didn't know what hit them for a few years. And you know, everybody's threatening to sue everybody else, and everybody's at war with everybody else. And we looked at this and we thought, gosh, there's got to be a middle path out of this. And when we did the iPod, we tried to walk a middle path. We said, you know, this thing could be the coolest thing ever invented, and it could also be a theft shuttle. And we're optimists. We believe that 80% of the people stealing music don't really want to steal music. We think they'd rather be legal if somebody offered them a competitive, compelling way to be legal. And we felt that most of the people using an iPod really would want to use it in an honest way. So we put software in there that makes it so it's not so easy to make it a theft shuttle for a normal, honest person.
You could say that you crippled it for an honest person, because
Yes.
it is perfectly legal to take your music from an iPod and move it from one of your computers to another. There's nothing illegal about that.
We
And
did-
you didn't allow that.
We crippled it in some ways to try to walk that middle path. Both sides have to give up something to walk the middle path. And we did. We made it so that it will only sync with one version of iTunes. So if you take your iPod over to your friend's house, it'll put all their music on it, but it'll take yours off. If you take it back to your house, it won't put their music on your computer. It'll put yours back on and take theirs off.
Unless you download one of 20 free utilities.
If you want to get around it, you can.
Right.
With all this talk of DRMs and this and that, I guarantee you there's nothing that can't be hacked. The question is, will it keep honest people honest? Will it give them a nudge in the honest direction? And I think we did walk a really good middle path with the iPod. I think a lot of people have held it up and said, hey, this is pretty good, and on both sides of that.
When you did that, were you already thinking ahead that you wanted to do deals with the labels to do your music service?
It had crossed our mind, but
It
we
had
hadn't
crossed your
started yet.
So you were able to say to them, look how we constructed the iPod and all of
Yeah,
that.
but as Bill said last night, I mean, Apple also is one of the few companies in our industry that has a lot of intellectual property. You know, I mean, other companies don't. But Microsoft, Apple, we have a lot of intellectual property, and software looks a lot like music, you know, bits on a disk to steal. We don't want people stealing our software either.
So about 3 weeks ago, you launched this iTunes Music Store, and there are a lot of things that differentiate it, I think, from the other services. But one of the big ones is that you got better digital rights from the labels.
Right.
So that your customers at your store can do more with the songs they buy. They can actually buy them instead of renting them, and they
Correct.
have some freedom to do it. Why did they do that for you? Was it because you were in the movie business? Was it because you were charming? Was it, I mean, because they figured the Mac is only a tiny part of the world, it doesn't
Sure.
matter?
You know, you got to step back even a step further. One of the things I learned at Pixar is the technology industries and the content industries do not understand each other. In Silicon Valley and at most technology companies, I swear most people still think the creative process is a bunch of guys in their early 30s sitting around on an old couch drinking beer thinking up jokes. No, they really do. That's how television's made, they think. That's how movies are made. And I've seen from Pixar that couldn't be further from the truth. The folks on the creative side work as hard as any technology folks I've ever seen in my life. They're just as disciplined. The process is just as difficult and disciplined as an engineering process is. And the contrapositive is true too, which is people in Hollywood and in the content industries, they think technology is something that you just write a check for and buy. They do not believe that they don't understand the creative element of technology. They don't understand that all technology is not created equal. They don't understand that this stuff is created by people working extraordinarily hard with passion, just like the creative talent that they have. And so these are like ships passing in the night. I mean, one of the greatest achievements of Pixar was it brought these two cultures together and got them working side by side. And so when we looked at the music industry, most of the folks in the tech industries thought the record companies were completely brain dead. You know, why haven't they jumped on this new business model? Why don't they understand where things are going? Well, it turns out that record companies, the most important thing they do is not distribute music. That's not what they do. It's not even market music. It's picking which of 500 people are going to be the next Sheryl Crow. That's what they do. And some of them do it quite well. And it's an intuitive process. There's not enough data. But they have to pick, and they have to decide who to invest in, and they manage a portfolio, and some of them do it awfully well. And if they don't do that well, the rest of it doesn't matter, right? So that's what they do well, and people that do well at that end up running the music companies, the good ones anyway. And so it's not surprising that they didn't understand Napster. It's not surprising that they didn't understand that distributing their content over the internet was the next big wave. And we went to them and we talked to them about this, and we made a lot of, and they told us we were all wet. This was a few years ago. And we made a lot of predictions. We said, we think MusicNet and PressPlay are going to fail, and here's why, and this and this and this and this. And they said, well, you're all wrong, get out of here. And about 9 months later, we started to get some phone calls. We went back to them, and they said, you know, talk to us some more, because you guys were right about some of this stuff. And we started talking to them about this middle path and about how their content needed to be protected from getting back onto the internet for honest people, but their real competitor was Kazaa. That was their competitor. And Kazaa was offering unlimited CD burning. Kazaa was offering an ability to have your music where it never went away if you stopped paying your subscription fee. Kazaa was offering the ability to put your music on a portable player. And if they were not willing to offer the user those kinds of rights, they couldn't compete with Kazaa. They might as well just put a big sign up that says Kazaa this way. And they got it. These are smart guys. And I think one of the things that appealed to them about Apple was that, you know, we do have a smaller sandbox than the whole market. So if the thing went radioactive, it would only go radioactive on 10% of the market. And another thing I think that appealed to them was that we could do the whole thing. You know, we made the operating system. We could write the applications. We made the computers. We made the iPod. And we could control the whole thing. I think a third thing that appealed to them was we were a large company with a lot of money in the bank, and if we did something wrong, they knew who to sue.
Hard to sue Kazaa. They're trying.
Hard to sue Kazaa. Hard to sue some of these small companies. There's nothing there.
Well, I know you're very shy and you usually don't like to do demos, and you're reluctant to promote Apple products, but everybody's heard about this store, and I'm betting that most of our audience has never seen it because for some reason they may not be Mac users.
Right.
I mean,
How many of you have never seen the iTunes Music Store? If you could raise your hands.
So would you give us a few minutes,
Okay,
like
sure.
a 5-minute demo, and
I'll
we'll
be
take a
real
look
quick.
at it?
So one of the most important things is in the iTunes Music Store, you get to buy your music. People have bought LPs, they bought cassettes, they bought CDs, and they want to buy downloads. People don't want to rent their music. Even the subscription services now, if you want to download, on top of the subscription, you've got to pay money. You've got to pay 99 cents or 49 cents or whatever it is. And to burn a CD, most of them charge you every time you burn the same track on a CD. So if you have your favorite song, you pay $9.99 a month, plus you pay 50 cents to download it every time you want to burn it on a CD. So if you want to put it on 100 CDs, you're paying a lot of money for that. So people want to buy their music and own it. And that's what the iTunes Music Store lets you do. Second thing is, you can't do this with a web browser. Web browsers are really slow, they're not very interactive, and so you have to have a client application. If you're going to have a client application, the last thing you want is for it to put your downloaded music in some random folder somewhere that you got to go dig out and then drag into your jukebox. So we decided to build it right into the jukebox itself. So here's iTunes, this is our jukebox, and what we did was we put over here Music Store, and you push this thing, and boom, that's the Music Store. You're in it. When you download music, it puts it right in your jukebox.
So with the screen we're looking at now, this is coming from a server.
This is coming from a server at Apple.
The first screen was songs you have on your hard disk.
Yeah,
that you
these
own.
are the songs I have on my hard disk, and I own them, and this is our jukebox, and you can just, play one. And you can go to the Music Store now. Here's the home page of the Music Store. And what it features is it shows us our top song downloads and top album downloads over here. And so I can get to songs over here. It shows us a few featured songs, new releases. New Release Tuesday happened yesterday. This is when the music industry releases their new songs. You can look at those. Here's some featured artists over here. And so let me just go through a way of finding some music. You can go over here and say, here, top album download, Jack Johnson. Here's an album of his. And in Jack Johnson, we can, just go to a song and play it. Now, this is a really big deal. There's a free, high-quality, 30-second preview of every song on the store. And it turns out 30 seconds is a long time for a song. It's like 20% of a song. And so you can listen to what you might want to buy and move all around, and every single song has a preview. We also show you the top downloads of that particular artist, so we'll go to another album here. You just click on these things. And up on the top here, it shows us the breadcrumbs, the home page, rock, Jack Johnson, and here's his album. I can go to Jack Johnson if I want. And we'll go to his artist page right here. Here's an artist page for Jack. We can go to his website. We can see all of his albums. He's only got 3 albums out. He's a young artist. We can watch a video that he's got right here. We can stream a video if we want to.
Okay, but the heart of this is that you can just buy the songs when you want them, right?
Well, let's go back and find some songs some other ways. So we can go to an album here. We can say, here's an old Fleetwood Mac album. And we have some exclusive tracks from artists that you can't even get on CDs. So these are some cuts from Fleetwood Mac that you can't even get on a CD. And to buy one of these tracks, all you do is you push buy song. I have to type in my account here.